Integrity is not a big deal in the horror community.
Blasphemy!
Really? Okay, let's go through some of the easy examples. I think I've made my points pretty well here, but there is another kind of low-effort cash grab garbage that exists in the horror community. I'm talking about movies that pretty much steal the same idea from a previous movie, but focus it on a different target audience. And the latest hot garbage to fit that category is Time Cut, a Disney Channel piece of doo-doo Netflix exclusive that takes the idea from Totally Killer, which very recently came out, and it was a pretty decent Back to the Future slasher movie. Time Cut takes Totally Killer out to the back of the barn, shoots it, mates with it, chops it up, and grafts its body parts onto itself like the lamest Frankenstein's monster you've ever seen.
Help me!
Okay, let's have some fun with this one, with spoilers, which will be easier said than done, because this movie is not a so bad it's good. It's just cliche after rushed writing, after obvious reveals, after meh. Let's get spooky. So the movie starts off in 2003 introducing Summer, whose friends were recently murdered by the Sweetly slasher. She's at a party and some random jabroni tries to give her a letter but can't because she's pulled away by the coolest guy in school. Clearly the hierarchy in this school is just and regularly enforced. Summer gets a drink spilled on her and she goes to clean it up, where the killer, who unfucking believable. The killer has the same mask as the guy in Totally Killer. It's a mask of a white guy with blonde hair. The only difference is that the mask in Totally Killer is smiling, but the one here is straight-faced. How original! So he chases after her and grabs a scythe and gets her, and then we get the title card. The movie then jumps 20 years into the future, present. We meet our real main character, Lucy, not that stupid bitch Summer. Lucy is narrating that 20 years ago, 4 people were killed by the Sweetly slasher, and one of them turned out to be her sister, that she never met, so...
Who cares?
Lucy has done quite a bit in her short life. Wicked smart with science and even got an internship at NASA. Big deal. But her parents don't really want to loosen the reins and want to keep her around. Just the classic needy parents that only want one kid and then make that kid the center of their entire existence. Later, they go and pay their respects to the dead, Summer, at the place that she was murdered.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't get this. Were they too cheap to buy an actual plot at a cemetery? Who pays respects to where your daughter was murdered? Did they not recover the body? I don't know. Lucy cares so little about the whole ordeal that when her parents remind her to leave an offering, she just runs back to the car and grabs any little knick-knack around. It's like, hey Padres, does a stick of gum that I've been chewing count? Or does it have to be like a fresh piece? Cause I don't really want to waste a fresh stick. Lucy notices a flashing light coming from the barn and goes to investigate. She sees basically a time machine and presses one button and oop, she's sent back to 2003, the day before all the murders happened. Wow, lucky, easy, convenient, and I don't know, I'm sure there are plenty of other words to slap onto this shitty writing. She time travels and appears inside the same barn she was in. I'm bringing this up because it'll be important later, I promise. She quickly figures out that her phone doesn't work, so she goes for a walk. Sees some banners saying what the current year is. Fucking why? When was the last time you saw a banner with the year on it? An election? The Olympics? Because neither are happening right now. Anyways, she goes to school and sees the older sister that she never met, and it's all surreal to her. She goes to her old science teacher, who may have been her only friend in high school. Fucking nerd. She asks him about time travel and he gives some half-assed answer. Meanwhile, the class nerd, Quinn, pipes up with some quick responses. I called it right here that the time machine was his. I'll let you know later if I was right. He mentions over and over that going back in time is a terrible idea because you could do more damage than good or cause a paradox. But enough about a random ass sequel to the Cloverfield franchise. What the fuck is happening to that franchise? Anywho, some seniors do their yearly prank tradition and throw a kid into the river, and it just so happens to be our nerd Quinn. Lucy comes in like a boss girl and just throws the guy in charge on the ground and everybody stops. I'll bet you any amount of money that the people who wrote this movie, made this movie, and even acted in this movie have never done anything more physical than crying on X about a mean tweet. Are they still called tweets? I don't know. The point is this throw is fucking laughable. Also, of course, she saves the one guy in the past who actually thinks about time travel. She gets him alone and proves to him that she is from the future. He asks if Arnold Schwarzenegger is president. She replies with a, "No, it's way worse."
Shocker!
What a surprise! The MTV, Netflix, Disney Channel hybrid cash grab abomination made that, I wanna say, joke? But sometimes I think this movie doesn't actually know how to land jokes. Lucy and Quinn grab the time machine and take it back to his house. By now you should probably be asking, whose time machine is this and why wouldn't it be under lock and key? Don't think about it too much because you won't get an answer for quite some time. They look at the time machine and see a company logo, Sonar, and realize that that's the fuel source and they need more to use the time machine again. Meanwhile, the older sister meets up with a rowing chick friend and they have a nice little moment where the rower tells Summer to fuck off. Yeah, clearly this is a scene that teases that Summer is gay.
Who cares?
So Lucy needs to grab her dad's keycard because he works at Sonar to get more fuel. She goes to Summer's place and her parents insist on Lucy staying for dinner. In the evening, and everyone is nice and polite, and Lucy's face is stuck on unbelievable mode for most of the movie, but here it's supposed to mean something because everyone is all happy, and it's nothing like it is in her life. Problem is that we only got like one singular scene with her and her parents, and it lasted like 30 seconds, so this shock and awe moment she's feeling, I couldn't care less about it. Lucy that night has a moment of realization. Some of the murders are supposed to happen tonight. To the bitchmobile! Lucy goes to try to save Summer's friends at the mall. One of them gets stabbed in the neck with a broken CD, and it's hilarious, of course, because the people who made this movie don't have a fucking clue of how to make a death by CD impactful. Here's a good example from Oldboy.
잘했어. 근데 결정적으로 고개 그리 해뻤다는 거 아니냐? 아, 참네. 니는
That's how it's done. And the next friend gets killed by having their face smashed into the bottom of an escalator, though I'm really not sure how this actually killed her. If this was a Terrifier movie, maybe that would have skinned her face, but that's definitely not what happened here. I don't know. Lucy calls for security and that guy gets shanked almost immediately.
Stupid bitch!
Lucy, Summer, and Quinn book it because they failed miserably. Lucy is feeling extra shitty because her little involvement got the security guard killed, which wasn't supposed to happen. Quinn tells her to not tell him anything else about the other killings. It's better to not know and just focus on getting her back to her time. Nice. Smart kid. Lucy eventually spills the beans to Summer and it takes her a bit, but she believes it. But she really wants to know who is the next victim, and Lucy spills the beans that it's the chick that Summer is totally gay for. They all agree to go and try to save her, and they all bring their own weapons and walk out of Quinn's garage in slow-mo with some serious music playing, and coincidentally, I was hoping that this mission would end in failure and that they would all die.
But no!
They just had to survive and successfully save the girl. Lucy and Summer have a bonding moment at the Olive Garden.
This all looks yummy. Really go for it, blonde hair, big ol' smile. Amazing, love that.
They talk about their upbringing and Lucy realizes that her parents only had her because Summer died. If Lucy saves Summer, then there is a chance that she will never exist. Holy shit! We actually have some interesting writing here. Only took an entire fucking hour for the movie to give me something. Lucy goes back and tells Quinn what could happen if she saves Summer. Quinn don't give a shit cause he can't let Summer die, and Lucy busts out his letter that she found from the intro of the movie and says, "Is it cause you're in love with her?" And he just storms off. Wow, what a pussy. Lucy tells Summer the truth, that she is the next to be killed. Wow, that was quick. The biggest revelation of the movie is told to the only two characters that matter to the plot within 2 minutes of the revelation. Summer asks Lucy what she wants, and she says, "I don't want a future without you." I mean, you only met this chick like 2 days ago for the first time, but yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, it's go time. The team splits up. Lucy and Quinn go for some antimatter at the science lab, and meanwhile, Summer is gonna go exactly where she's supposed to die all by herself. I'm sorry, was this Lucy and Quinn's plan or Summer's plan? Anyways, Lucy and Quinn see a dead guard and realize that there's already some antimatter that was stolen. The killer was already there, and they realize that the time machine is his. Honestly, who else could it have belonged to at this point? So they grab some more antimatter and book it. Meanwhile, Summer gets chased around by the killer a bit until she is cornered and she's about to accept a scythe to the fucking face, but then what a surprise! Lucy and Quinn drive a car through the barn that Summer is in and only nail the killer.
What? Oh, come on!
How? How is this possible? How could they have known that the killer was even in there? And how did they know that they wouldn't have hit Summer? The killer slowly gets back up, and since we are in a horror movie, the car stalls.
Obviously.
The killer then takes off his mask, and it's Quinn! Called it that the time machine was his. I guess this is an older version of him because he seems to have wrinkles in his face, but it looks exactly like Quinn, or like an evil version of Quinn. This movie is still shit. The car starts working and the kids drive back to Quinn's house. Even though they drove, Evil Quinn shows up like 10 seconds later. Fucking how? So Evil Quinn gives us his origin story. In his timeline, he got thrown into the lake, and since Summer was there, she laughed her ass off about it, naturally. And when Quinn gave her his love letter, she turned him down hard. And that's it. That's enough motivation to kill 4 people.
Wait a minute.
Who's the 4th person? I'm serious. In Lucy's time, it said that the Sweetly Slasher killed 4 people. Summer, her 2 friends, and then who? When we go back, Quinn kills the security guard, but that didn't originally happen, so who is the 4th? A younger version of Quinn? How does that even work? Good Quinn does threaten to knife himself to protect Summer, but Evil Quinn smirks, saying that that's not how time travel works. I guess we're going with the Avengers Endgame explanation.
If you travel to the past, that past becomes your future, and your former present becomes the past, which can't now be changed by your new future.
Exactly.
I guess it makes sense, but it's just a way to make your writing easier on yourself because affecting the past and the future doesn't really actually do anything. Evil Quinn says that after he kills them, he will disappear in time, whatever the fuck that means. Also, why would he need to do that? Just go back to your own time. No one suspected you in the first place. Whatever. Lucy and Quinn fight, and the time machine gets activated and they go back to the present. But they also teleport to a parking garage. Fucking really? These shit writers couldn't even remember that when Lucy first time traveled, she stayed at the same barn? And you know what? You could make the argument that his house got demolished and turned into a giant parking garage, but I'm not accepting that. It's shit, lazy writing.
End of fucking story.
So Lucy and Quinn have the most bullshit looking fight put to cinema. Seriously, the parking lot fight and promotion was better than this.
Yeah? Come on, Dick! Come on! Dick! Hey, fuck you!
Lucy makes Quinn stab an electric car charging cable and it electrocutes Quinn. She goes for the antimatter in his jacket, and of course the horror cliche of him waking up and grabbing her hand happens. And then she immediately stabs him in the chest and he dies like a small dog. Summer and Quinn chat in the past saying that they are gonna miss her, and Lucy just pops out of nowhere. Summer asks, why did she do this? And Lucy says, I went back to speak to my parents and they didn't know who I was. Wait, that's another retcon. If killing young Quinn wouldn't affect old Evil Quinn, then why would Summer surviving affect Lucy's present? So Lucy decides to spend the rest of her life in the early 2000s and the movie ends. Never mind how that would even work, especially in the States, gonna have to forge a birth certificate, social. Whenever this kind of thing happens in movies, they never go into detail of how that would actually work. Probably because it fucking wouldn't. So many questions to ask here, and if I'm going to do the work for the writers here, the only way this story works is if Evil Quinn spent decades making the time machine and then he went back in time to kill Summer. And then Lucy would have been created and that's when the movie starts. But even that doesn't work, because according to him, that actually wouldn't affect his timeline, the first one. Or Quinn was the killer during the intro, but if he was, then when Lucy comes into the picture, one day before the killings happened, Quinn would have definitely given off serial killer vibes at least a bit. No one goes from zero to a successful serial killer after a senior prank and your high school crush turning you down cause she's gay.
Let's be honest.
Also, he would have still gotten rejected by Summer. Has he moved on to Lucy? Would the rejection be enough to send him over the edge? What if the movie didn't have convenient writing and Lucy didn't stop the bullies from throwing Quinn into the lake? Would that have been enough? What a dumpster fire of a movie. I promise, if you just watch my review, you'll get more entertainment from me shitting on the movie than from the movie itself. Isn't that what videos like this are for? Anyways, stay spooky, my friends.